This is a wonderful picture of our galaxy, the Milky Way, as seen from planet Earth. Welcome to Module 1 on Astronomy and Genesis 1 and Creation, based on the method of true education. It has been prepared for Generation 144K by www.144,000teachers.org. Astronomy is one of the Creator's methods to share His infinite power of creation. According to the book of Psalm, chapter 19, verses 1 to 3, we read, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth His handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard." The same great laws for the stars, the atoms, and human life. Education, page 99. The same power that upholds nature is working also in man. The same great laws that guide alike the star and the atom control human life. The laws that govern the heart's action, regulating the flow of the current of life to the body, are the laws of the mighty intelligence that has the jurisdiction of the soul. From Him all life proceeds. Only in harmony with Him can be found its true sphere of action. For all the objects of His creation, the condition is the same: a life sustained by receiving the life of God, a life exercised in harmony with the Creator's will. To transgress His law, physical, mental, or moral, is to place oneself out of harmony with the universe, to introduce discord, anarchy, ruin. Based on living fountains or broken cisterns, page 59, we draw the principles of true education for angels and for us. God teaches by the enunciation of principles or universal laws, according to Isaiah chapter 28, verses 9 to 11, and the Holy Spirit, which comes by faith, enlightens the senses that we may grasp the illustration of these laws in the physical world. That is heaven's method of teaching the angelic throne, and it was the method applied before the fall. In Genesis chapter 1 and through the universal laws and physical laws of applied sciences, the Creator reveals how He created all things. What a wonderful God we serve! And get ready for the true and only heavenly method of education. In this first module of Astronomy and Genesis 1, we will learn that astronomy is first mentioned in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, in verses 14 to 19, and many more. Astronomy is an applied science, and we will learn what it does teach. Astronomy declares the glory and infinity of the Creator, and it's based on universal laws. This image, taken from the Hubble Space Telescope by NASA, is a Hubble mosaic which unveils a collection of carved knots of gas and dust in a small portion of the Monkey Head Nebula, also known as NGC 2174 and Sharpless SH2 252. This nebula is a star-forming region that hosts dusky dust clouds silhouetted against glowing gas. The Bible is the main book that we use for these studies, and we will be looking at also the biblical calendar. We will be looking at the planets of the Milky Way, which circulates around the sun. We will also see the beautiful starry nights. What are they teaching us? And the planisphere, which is the map of the sky. The first lesson that is very, very important to understand is found in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. The universal law of creation and the physical laws of applied sciences. On the first day, we read in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. 10 words. Chapter 1, verse 1 of Genesis, but it reveals so much. In the beginning is time. The word beginning represents time. God created is one divine action. Heaven represents space, and earth is matter. The science to study time is astronomy. The science to study space is physics or astrophysics, and the science we use to study matter is chemistry. And these three sciences, astronomy, physics, and chemistry, can only be learned and understood through the science of mathematics. So in 10 short words, the Creator includes 4 applied sciences in order to teach us about time, space, and matter. What a great Creator we serve. He is worthy to be praised, indeed. In Genesis 1, on the 4th day, verses 14 to 19, the Creator enunciates the universal laws, again, of astronomy, physics or astrophysics, chemistry, mathematics, and meteorology. He also, through the 7 days of creation, expressed the hebdomad, which is a set group of 7. That's what hebdomad means. And he enunciates the biblical calendar. Genesis 1, verses 14 to 19, also has 8 universal divine actions. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good, and the evening and the morning were the 4th day. Notice that on the first day, God had already created the light. And here on the 4th day, he appoints their function. The divine actions are, God said, let there be lights, let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven. God made 2 great lights, and he made the stars also. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven, and God saw that it was good. These are the 8 universal divine actions. God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. An important explanation can be found in Galatians chapter 4, verse 10, and Colossians chapter 2, verse 16, where the Apostle Paul explains that the calendar of the pagan, which is found in Galatians chapter 4, verse 10, is basically days and years. Where in Colossians, he explains that in chapter 2, The true biblical calendar is based on holy days, on new moon, and on Sabbath. And this is where we find the difference between the pagan calendar and the true biblical calendar, of which we will say more later. The first time that we find here in these verses time, space, and matter, where it explains astronomy, physics, chemistry, and mathematics, is in verse 14. Then let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. The second, it mentioned time, space, and matter again, but we also find meteorology beside astronomy, physics, chemistry, and mathematics. And when God appoints the two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night, which we find in the first day as well, and the second and the third day, this is how we divide those days and night. He made the stars also, and we find that in Psalm 104:19, where the moon is appointed for seasons, and the sun knoweth is going down. Job chapter 38, verse 32 is also a very, very interesting chapter and verse, where it is revealed there as well regarding the stars. So there we find again time, space, and matter with astronomy, physics, chemistry, and mathematics. And God set those light in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth and to rule over the day and over the night, as the preceding days. Fourth, it is mentioned time, space, and matter for the fourth time, where astronomy, physics, chemistry, and mathematics is involved. And of course, a full day is composed of 12 hours of night, darkness, evening, and 12 hours of light, morning, day, and this composes the fourth day. So fifth, again, is mentioned evening, morning, and day, which is time, which is astronomy, physics, and mathematics. Astronomy is an applied science, which is the application of existing scientific knowledge to practical applications like technology or inventions. When studied in the light of the enunciation of the Creator's universal laws and illustrated with physical laws, all applied sciences witness to the infinite intelligence of the Creator. And all applied sciences follow universal laws or principles. They also harmonize with each other. In order to understand astronomy, the sciences of physics, chemistry, and mathematics are combined and explain the principles of time, space, matter, gravity, speed, electricity, light, and more. If the heavenly principles of true education would have always been observed, there would never have been an infidel or an evolutionist. Lucifer knows these principles, but he has used them to destroy true education and teach the principles of false education since Genesis chapter 3, verse 1, when he asked Eve, "Hath God said?" putting doubt in her mind. But the Creator is restoring his universal laws right now and is repairing the breach made in true education and his heavenly calendar based on faith. As we look at the image of the sun and the planets from the Milky Way, we see as they rotate around the sun that they follow a definite order. The first one of these planets is Mercury. The second is Venus. The third one is planet Earth. The fourth one is Mars. The fifth one is Jupiter. The sixth one is Saturn. The seventh is Uranus. And the eighth one is Neptune. Again, following in perfect order. Astronomy teaches the celestial objects such as the sun, planet, moon, star, galaxy, and comet. It also teaches us phenomena such as supernova explosions, gamma ray bursts, We learn about our galaxy, the Milky Way, and the names of the arms of the Milky Way, and also the definition of kiloparsec. The geography of the sky can be learned through a planisphere, where also we learn the ecliptic line, the 12 constellations in their seasons. Astronomy also teaches us about the biblical calendar. Note that the image on this slide is the image of a supernova, which was taken by the European Space Agency, of which we give the link. Scientists believe they witnessed the explosion of the most massive star to ever detonate in a supernova, and they call it SN 2016 IET because it was observed in 2016. We offer now a short definition of the celestial objects and encourage you to do further research in order to increase your knowledge of what astronomy teaches. The Sun is our nearest star. It is, as all stars are, a hot ball of gas made up mostly of hydrogen. The Sun is so hot that most of the gas is actually plasma, which is the fourth state of matter. The first state is a solid, and it is the coldest state of matter. The four states are solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. The Sun around which Earth and other planets orbit provides heat and light to the Earth. It is about 150 million kilometers or 93 million miles from the Earth, and it has a diameter of approximately 1,391,000 kilometers or 864,000 miles, and a mass of about 333,000 times that of Earth. A planet is a large object or body, such as Jupiter or Earth, that orbits the Sun. Planets are smaller than stars and do not produce light. A planet is massive enough for its own gravity to make it round or nearly round, and it has cleared the neighborhood around its orbit. Pluto does not meet these three conditions. A star and everything which orbits is also called a star system. There are 8 planets in our solar system in their order: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. The Moon is the Earth's natural satellite orbiting the Earth at a distance of 384,393 kilometers or 238,857 miles. And it has a diameter of 3,476 kilometers or 2,160 miles. According to Psalm 104:19, we know that the moon was appointed for seasons and has the same meaning as month in Hebrew. The moon has different phases during a month: conjunction, horn crescent, first quarter, full moon, last quarter, to name a few. The moon makes Earth a more livable planet by moderating our own planet's wobble on its axis, leading to a relatively stable climate. The moon's gravity pulls at the Earth, causing predictable rises and falls in sea levels known as tides. The moon can only be seen as a result of the sun's light reflecting of it. It does not produce any light of its own, just like the planets. A galaxy is a huge collection of gas, dust, and billions of stars and their solar systems. A galaxy is held together by gravity, isolated from similar systems by vast regions of space. There are billions of galaxies in the universe, and Hubble found 4 distinct types of galaxies: elliptical, spiral, spiral-barred, and irregular. Although there are different types, each galaxy contains the same elements, but these are arranged differently for each type. Our galaxy is called the Milky Way. A comet is a ball of mostly ice. that moves around in outer space. Comets are often described as dirty snowballs. The orbital inclinations of comets are usually high and not near the ecliptic where most solar system objects are found. Most of them are long-period comets and come from the Kuiper belt. Comets travel around the Sun, usually in a highly elliptical orbit. Their solid frozen nucleus part vaporizes on approaching the Sun to form a gaseous luminous coma and a long luminous trail. A meteor is a small body of matter from outer space that enters the Earth's atmosphere, becoming incandescent as a result of friction and appearing as a streak of light. Astronomy teaches us also the phenomena such as supernova explosions and gamma ray bursts. A supernova is a large explosion that takes place at the end of a star's life cycle. It is the largest explosion that takes place in space. For a star to explode as a type 2 supernova, it must be several times more massive than the Sun. In gamma ray astronomy, gamma ray bursts, or GRBS, are extremely energetic explosions that have been observed in distant galaxies. They are the brightest electromagnetic events known to occur in the universe. Bursts can last from 10 milliseconds to several hours. Gamma ray bursts are the strongest and brightest explosions in the universe, thought to be generated during the formation of black holes. Looking now at our galaxy, the Milky Way, we have been given names for the arms and also the definition of kiloparsec. It was with the invention and development of the telescope that we have been able to identify galaxies vividly as stars, not any sort of milk as the ancient people described it. To our eyes, it looks like a cloud because of the unbearable intensity of the flooding lights emanating from gigantic nuclear reactions from over the surface of stars. Galileo, the inventor of the telescope, came forward with his telescope and clearly saw that the so-called Milky Way was in fact a great stretch of millions of stars, forming a huge network called galaxy. He further concluded that it was just a facade of one galaxy, while there are still many more and still much more yet to be discovered, which the posterity did. The names of the Milky Way arms are coming from the core, but shown on the outside of the galaxy here. The first one being the Scutum Centaurus arm. The second, going by the inside now, the Noma arm. In the core of the Milky Way is the near 3K-PC arm and the far 3K-PC arm. Then follows the Sagittarius arm, Orion spur, Perseus arm, and the outer arm. Notice also where the Sun is situated here in gold. KPC definition, which stands for kiloparsecs, the parsecs itself, the symbol is PC, is a unit of length used to measure the large distances to astronomical objects outside the solar system. 1 parsec is approximately equal to 31 trillion kilometers, or 3.1 multiplied by 10 power 13 kilometer, or 19 trillion miles, or 1.9 multiplied by 10 power 13 miles, and equates to about 3.26 light years. A parsec is obtained by the use of parallax and trigonometry, which is a form of mathematics. All information obtained were from Wikipedia and online sites, to which we refer you here with this link. We encourage you to continue to study further these wonderful phenomena and information on astronomy. Continuing as to what we are learning from astronomy, we see that astronomy declares the glory and infinity of the Creator's universal laws illustrated with the physical laws or applied sciences. The first one of these universal laws is energy. The potential for causing changes and energy is the cause of any change. The most common definition of energy is the work that a certain force, either gravitational, electromagnetic, etc., can do. The second law is the law of gravity. Gravity is a force which tries to pull two objects toward each other. Anything which has mass also has a gravitational pull. Earth's gravity is what keeps mass on the ground and what causes objects to fall. Gravity is what holds the planets in orbit around the sun and what keeps the moon in orbit around Earth. The third law is mass. Mass is a measure of the amount of matter in an object. An object mass is constant in all circumstances. Weight is the amount of force that gravity has on an object. A mass on the Earth and the moon are identical. But weight on the Earth and the moon will vary because moon gravity is 1/6 of Earth gravity. The fourth one is velocity. Velocity is the speed of a star's motion relative to the sun as determined from its proper motion, distance, and radial velocity. It is also called space motion. The next law is force. Force is any interaction that, when unopposed, will change the motion of an object. Every object in space exerts a gravitational pull on every other, and so gravity influences the path taken by everything traveling through space. It is the glue that holds together entire galaxies. It keeps planets in orbit, and it makes it possible to use human-made satellites and to go to and return from the moon. The sixth one is motion. From the Earth point of view and the Earth's rotation and revolution, we observe the motion of the celestial bodies which rise in the east, climb to a maximum height, then set in the west. All bodies move along a diurnal circle approximately parallel to the plane of the equator. Light is an electromagnetic radiation within a certain portion of the electromagnetic spectrum which is visible to the human eye. Most objects in space give us radiate light. This light is given different names depending on its wavelength and energy, such as radio waves, which is a long wavelength, low energy, microwaves, infrared, visible light, ultraviolet, X-rays, and gamma rays, which are short wavelength, high energy. Continuing with the Creator's universal laws illustrated with the physical laws or applied sciences. Polarity is the property of a magnet that causes it to have north and south magnetic regions. There are two types of poles, positive and negative. This represents the electrical potential at the ends of a circuit. The rule of correspondence or correspondence principle is used to mean the reduction of a new scientific theory to an earlier scientific theory in appropriate circumstances. In order for there to be a correspondence, the earlier theory has to have a domain of validity and it must work under certain conditions. Relativity is the dependence of various physical phenomena on relative motion of the observer and the observed objects, especially regarding the nature and behavior of light, space, time, and gravity. Special relativity applies to all physical phenomena in the absence of gravity. General relativity explains the law of gravitation and its relation to other forces of nature. Time is the basic unit of astronomical time, which is the day, either the solar day reckoned by the sun or the sidereal day reckoned by the stars. Apparent solar time is based on the position of the sun in the sky, and mean solar time is based on the average value of a solar day during the year. Rotation is a circular movement of an object around a center of rotation. If three-dimensional objects like Earth, Moon, and other planets always rotate around an imaginary line, it is called a rotation axis. The axis passes through the body's center of mass. The body is said to rotate upon itself or spin. A revolution is often used as a synonym for rotation. However, in many fields like astronomy and its related subjects, revolution is referred to as an orbital revolution. It is used when one body moves around another, while rotation is used to mean the movement around the axis. For example, Moon revolves around the Earth and the Earth revolves around the Sun. An atom is the smallest component of an element, characterized by a sharing of the chemical properties of the element and a nucleus with neutrons, protons, and electrons. For further study on these definitions, please go online and check those links that we're submitting here, and there are much further studies that can be done as well. Astronomy is one of the Creator's methods to share His infinite power of creation, and as so well expressed in Psalm 19, verses 1 to 3, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth His handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Glory be to His holy name.